Psychotechnologies live. This today is October 10th, where I am. October 2023. 3 days ago on October 7th, the largest terrorist attack in Israel's history happened. From what we understand now, about 1,000 terrorists crossed over the border from Gaza into Israel and have massacred I think it's over like between killing and hostages. I think it's at least 300. Let me just double check that number. The numbers keep changing. Sorry, it's almost 1,000 is what people are saying now. The total, it's pretty bad. So Ellie and I were going to talk about it, talk about our feelings, what it's like for Jews in the diaspora. We're both Jewish, different kinds of Jews, or different, at least upbringing, but still within the Jewish community. I've got friends in Israel. I've got family in Israel, on my wife's family, my family. There's a lot going on. It's very intense. There's been demonstrations all over, like I think all the major cities pretty much of at least the Western world, even some in the Middle East. Pro-Israel, anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian, anti-Palestinian, not actually that much, a lot of anti-Palestinian, at least anti like militia, whatever, talk about that stuff. It's I haven't been able to go to the rallies for reasons. I'm needed home, but yeah, we want to, I guess, talk about it, talk about what it's like to be here and be there. I've lived in Israel for about 2.5 years over the course of my life. And it is, in a lot of ways, it's like a home. Batman. No Batman. It's sleep time.
I think that one thing that happens is that life continues. Batman and things still have to happen. Even though, like for me, so I'm in Australia here in Sydney, and everything's just really heavy. Like Israel and the events over there seem so far away, and then I've talked to my friends. They give me this look that is like they know, and everyone knows that things are just pretty and just a little bit tense.
Can you play with your toys? Sorry. Yeah, as you can see, there is like, it's a very like Jewish thing to have like the death and destruction juxtaposed to like children.
I mean,
it's obviously a better juxtaposition than
about this. The day that I found out about this was a day that people were in synagogue, and so it was a non-technology type day for those who are observant of those traditions, and there were people in synagogue half a day, and so it was like being embedded in this community of 100, 200 people spending time together. It's supposed to be a celebration day, while knowing that something was happening and it was pretty bad, and not really knowing the details. And then, of course, the day ended, and then people turned on their phones and found out, if it was connected to us personally, like if it were my family or your family or that sort of thing.
This is not the first time that I guess the Arab Muslim nations have attacked Jews on their holiday. It seems to be very
There was
common
one
practice.
years ago as well that was intended for for Yom Kippur, which is one of the most solemn days of the year, which was tragic because that's the like day of repentance, day of reflection, and a lot of people fast. So obviously, as a country, it would be weaker or anticipated to be slightly weaker on that day.
More vulnerable. Yeah, it's essentially like Ramadan all in one day, and then that's when they attack. And this incursion took place 50 years and a day after the last time they did that. Like on a anniversary, it was on. It's like the next like English anniversary, like right after. Right on another holiday.
But yeah, as I talk to people, it's just a bit heavy hanging out with knowing that this like things are really going down over there.
Yeah. It's it's very intense. It's I was talking to Ben, and he's like, people ask me how my family is, and he's like crying, and he's saying that my family's been slaughtered. And he didn't mean like his wife and kids or his cousins or his parents. He meant Jews, like Israeli Jews, are being killed, and that's like that's his family. And there is a very strong sense for me, even like I've been secular for like 15 years already, and like Jews like often piss me off, but it's like they're still family.
I believe that the Israeli government, which usually has 17 major political parties and has difficulty forming a coalition, has already formed a coalition. They sorted that out. Like they managed to come together in the face of this.
There's nothing that like unifies the Jews more than being attacked. Like having like if you want to like unite Jews, you like kill them, and then they're like all of a sudden they're all together. It's like fingers. They're all like we're all doing all these our own things and fighting, and then the second someone attacks, it's like it becomes a fist. And then like all of a sudden it doesn't matter. What are your political views? What are your, are you like this? Are you like that? Are you woke? Are you far right? Are you for Netanyahu or against him? Are you like Zionist, anti-Zionist? Like none of that matters anymore. It's like everyone is like for like not for protection, like for safety. It's like the one thing that like Jews all agree on. That's like the only thing they agree on. Like, don't like you can't kill us.
Have you seen some of the videos?
Yeah. I watched the Ben Shapiro. I couldn't watch the whole thing. It's like he takes them all, he puts them together, contextualizes them, does a very good job. But it's extremely intense.
There's a lot of I've seen gruesome sort of people covered in blood, people getting killed. Like, those videos are floating around today, around on Twitter, around on media.
Those are posted by Hamas as well.
Yeah,
by the people doing the action
to sort of sway the rest of the world.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to go into like the mindsets of the stuff, because it's very it's political, but it's like people who haven't lived in like Middle Eastern countries, they don't get it. Where I
Well,
see like the Western people trying to get it, and like it's like they don't get the mindset there.
I think that prior to this recent one, my conceptualization of two warring nations was like two 5-year-olds trying to bop each other over the head with sticks. And it's like, oh, wait a second, these aren't 5-year-olds, these are adults who are willingly going to war with one another. Like, there's on both sides, people are out for bloodshed, and they're not gonna, and like, it feels like an us or them thing on, I'm sure, both sides. Like, these aren't 5-year-olds, these are adults who are scheming, intelligent individuals who are likely ready to die for what they believe in, and that's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like there's like we abstract like in the West we managed to abstract war almost like not entirely, but like almost entirely, in the sense that like let's say NATO, right? Which is we're both NATO countries. Wait, Australia is NATO, right? Or China? I always forget. And then so like NATO is essentially like abstracted warfare to like the point where like they don't like there are some ground fighting and like there are casualties that happen, but it's like they're in control. Like they've been in control for, I don't know, like at least Vietnam, right? Like it's
more than my lifetime.
Yeah, like
unprecedented era of peace for quite a while now.
Yeah, like
across human history.
In like historically, like civilians are not civilians are just not targeted since, I guess, like 9/11, but like
that wasn't even a war though. That was a one-off strike.
It depends how you call it, right? Like there was a strike and then the US went to war.
Yeah. But we're kind of like on the edge of the 9/11 having happened, but it's an ongoing war zone now.
Yeah, so now like this is so it's been a huge attack, and so now there's like Israel has declared war on Gaza, which I didn't realize, but Gaza's been like not under occupation since I think 2005, I believe, which is
clear authority structure.
So they pulled out, and they're just like Israel's just not there, right? Like it's like there was a democratically elected government, Hamas, which is responsible for the killings, and they've just been like doing that thing, and Israel supplies them with electricity and water. But they're not. It was when I was there at the time. I was in Israel. I wasn't by Gaza, but I was there when they were giving back some land. They were giving back Gush Katif at the time, so everyone was wearing there was like orange, like these orange bands people were wearing. And I was actually part of the protests, for one of the protests for protesting giving back the land. Because historically this is like something that Israel has consistently done, where they get back land, they get back land, they get back land, they get back land, they get attacked, and then they take all the land back, plus more. And it's very like the mindset there is like it's very like the Western, it's like the Western influence there is very much like you have to do peace and like negotiations, and Israel does like peace and negotiations, but it's the way you negotiate, like in the Middle East, like the language that's spoken is different than the one that's spoken here, in the sense that, and I don't just mean the languages, I mean like how do you show that you're serious, right? So like border skirmishes are part of negotiations in a lot of ways. It's unclear why, but it does seem like that's very much like the culture in the Middle East. And so there's very much like like it's like very much that too. There's like you need to be displaying strength all the time. Like you need to be posturing, because, and like real posturing, because that's how things go. And if you're not doing that, then it's the other side doesn't take you seriously. And so Israel's always like caught in between like posturing, because that's the language that's being spoken there, and being pressured from the West, like specifically America, to posture differently, right? Like here we still posture, it's just different, right? Like the social stuff is like, it's like we want peace, and they're the ones that are doing the war crimes, and they're the ones that are doing this, and like, we just want freedom and peace. And like that's how the posturing goes here, right? It's like what's the idea, what ideals are you appealing to? And there it's like you shoot bullets, and like that's how people know what's going on. It's very like I like to think of it like Bronze Age mindset, where it's very like the tribes are next to each other, and like you need to have this ritualistic war, or else they don't know what's like. It's like it's how the Arab society works, which is weird. Not all of them, but it's at least like the Palestinian, and also like Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iran. Yeah, the mindset is crazy different.
What are you seeing locally amongst people, amongst your communities in response to all this?
So like it's interesting, like it hits, like everyone is hit, right? So everyone in Israel like knows someone, or knows someone who knows someone who was like injured or killed. In the diaspora, it's not like that, right? So I don't know anybody that, at least as far as I know. I don't know anybody that was injured or killed, but like I've been to some of those places that got overrun. And like everyone is worried. Like everyone is worried, like this could be like it could have been that people I knew died. I don't know how to explain it to like I'm trying to like I'm imagining like what secular people like trying to put in words that they can understand, like people that grew up in Western countries. And it's like, I don't know, it's like if your social group got attacked, right? So like if effective altruists or teapots, or your local sports team,
if the players on the sports team like got attacked directly, specifically,
or like the coach or something. I don't, the problem is I'm not really into sports, so I don't know that it's the same bond, but it's like people, it's like, yeah, like I watched the video of this guy, and he's like they came in and he pretended to be dead, and they shot him twice. And he's like, yeah, I got one bullet go through me and one bullet's still in there. And he's just like talking about this like manufacturing, like he literally like just got shot like that day or the day before, whenever the video was taken. And like I don't know that guy, but like I know that guy. Like he's so typically Israeli. It's it's like Israel is a completely different country. It's like you go there and everybody's like your cousin. It's like, how like your cousins, but like you don't know them super well. But like it's like a cousin party, and like you're showing up to a cousin party. They're like, oh, you're the cousin. Oh, like this. And like we do like the ritualistic, like depending on when and where, but like you often do the ritualistic, like, oh, where are you from? Oh, do you know these people? Or you know that? What synagogue did you grow up in? Which school did you go up to? Oh, yeah, like
the number very like, oh, I'm from Sydney, and then someone like, oh, I know one person in Sydney, and this is their name.
Yeah.
And then the number of times my answer is yes, I know them, because I actually do know them. It's just a small town in this culture. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Who doesn't?
Oh yeah, like you grew up in the Jewish community, like you know a lot of Jews, and it's like people ask, like the amount of times people ask me, you know this person, I'm like, oh no, I know their sibling, like, or they're like their cousin, or like is it this family or that family? Like I'm not sure which one.
Right. I went to
It's
school with a cousin. Yeah.
yeah, like it's like family, like it's like very family there. And that's why you get these, old ladies. Like, oh, it's so funny because they all have the old ladies like trying to get on the bus and like elbowing people to like get a seat. Because it's very like there's like a level of and like there's like a level of violence that they're used to, and then also the family. So it's like it winds up being like a rough and tumble kind of place, but
Mm.
it's still very like people, like you expect people to help you if you got hurt. Like
Mm.
people would 100% help you, and like kind help you, not nice help you,
Mm.
like actually like take care of you. Yeah, and like here it's like even I'm like out of it, and it's still like I'm out of like the loop for a lot of the Jewish community, and it's still like I still know what's going on, like I still know what the like I can still relate on the feeling level, even
Mm.
if I can't like articulate this in ways.
Yeah. There's a couple of there was a message that came around yesterday that was like, hey, in like a community group that was like, hey, if you need to talk, we're here. There's a group, a WhatsApp group that is like local buy swap sell. Someone's like, I have extra nappies. Does anyone want them? Like, whatever. And that group just put itself on pause for a day in solidarity. It's just like, I mean, it's this tiny thing, but everyone knows why, and everyone gets it. Um,
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, for this, like, I've been having a novel experience. This is, I think, this is the first. This is like the first like big thing that's happened since I've had kids,
mm,
and like it's like automatic that like there's a part of me that's like feels guilty of like not going out and like doing stuff as much. Like there's demonstrations and all that stuff, and I feel like I should be part of it, and also the it's like it's like kind of that retreating into the home and
mm,
like taking care of my kids is it feels like that's part of the coordination. So
mm.
like whenever you have like large groups,
You
like
do
the way you
yours.
know you're in a large group is that are you coordinating with them? I think is like
Mm,
um at least yeah. And so like there does seem like it's like a kind of like a little bit of a retreating from society in a little bit of a way, but like in like this it's like I'm not putting myself out there as much. I'm like more behind, like with my family and like making sure like they're safe. And it feels like I'm still part of things, even if I'm not physically there. Um, because like that's I think like that's the underlying thing that needs to be protected. So like for when like groups get attacked, it's there's a sense of like kind of moving into what's most important, and what's like what's most important is they say it's like civilians, but it's really it's like the kids, it's the next generation. And so there's like a sense in which like raising my kids is part of the coordination, like these people as in like the soldiers and whatever, all the people like Ben Shapiro, right, like all the people I'm seeing on the news, all the people that are seeing doing things, um like they're doing that so I can raise my kids. And so it still feels like I'm part of it, even if it feels like I'm part of everything, even if I'm not even aware of it, of a lot of it.
mm.
It's times like it's this kind of stuff as well that makes me, because like we do a lot of like try to community building and things like that, and it's always like a struggle on like what the values are of the communities.
Mm.
And like kind of like like having a value of like raising your kids is like really like having kids is like protecting children is very lame as a value, but it's like the only one that like you can all agree on. Right, like you know that if like you're not agreeing on this, like you're wrong. Like
Mm.
it's just very, it becomes like very obvious. And like, you know, like political, you know, let's say last week the political situation was very complex, and now it's not, and it will be complex again, but right now it's not.
There's no complexity. This is what we need to do.
Yeah, there's no complexity. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. There's people that are going and killing like women and
Citizens.
killing and raping women and children, and there are people that are protecting women and children.
Mm.
Like there's no like you don't need a degree in like in like political affairs or morality. Like if you can't see that difference, it's like you're not a like you're just like you're out group. Like you're just out group. Like you're out of the spirit of humanity if you're not. And I don't mean this as like the Palestinian people are evil. I mean this as like Hamas is evil, or like the terrorists are evil. I do think that like there is like it is deep down complex. Like there is like they are under a government that does this, and yes, they did elect them, but also they didn't have a lot of choices, and also the governments rule through fear, and they're the ones that get the aid, the money, they have the money, and like it's like very complex, like what's going on, and there are like definitely civilians on the other side that it's not good that they get hurt or killed. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying, but it's
Yeah, I mean, that's something I want to name. You said the phrase "the other side." Like, it feels like it sucks on both sides. Like people are going to die. People have died on the Israel side, and there's going to be a lot of death on the non-Israel side as well.
yeah. I think like when I'm thinking other side, it's I'm usually thinking like I'm the Israeli side, but now I'm thinking I'm on the side of the people who are not, the people who are protecting civilian, like regular people.
I mean, I'd like to believe I'm on the side of life.
Yeah.
And that means even the people who are actively causing death, I'm on those people's sides as well, because I want to be on the side of life, as well as the people who are dying. I'm on their side. Like I want less death, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I want that too, but like I think there is like there are lines, like there are people who are, I think like throughout often like let's say last week, it's like there's a lot of people and they have a lot of ideas, and it's of how things work, and like it's like very difficult to parse through, because first off, like is the idea good, and like you don't get it, or they don't, you know, like they have something you don't like, you don't get it, they don't get it. Is it that they're just not expressing themselves well? Is it that the idea is it needs actually, there's actually some other factors that could be done that, you know, could be is it that, and when they say things, are they saying it out of like anger and grief and like having emotions, and really like they're just having an emotional experience, and at the end of the day they really are on, you know, like they really are trying to make things better. And then there's also a underlying like good faith, like does this person want to see life happen, or do they want to see death happen? And so like when you have situations like this, it switches from, like when you have situations before, it's usually I'm like thinking like Israel security, because, you know, like number one is Israel security, because if security fails, then that's, you know, this kind of stuff happens. And then number two, it's like, okay, like how do we like long term the situation so we can live in peace together? And then when you have this, so it's like talking to Palestinians. It's like
Cautiously
it's like
lump them all together under one title.
well no, it's like you're trying, yeah, because like you want to have, if you can have like good discussions, good debates or whatever, even if it's not debate, whatever it is, like if there's some like discourse exchange, then like you guys can start moving in that direction. And
Right. It also means we're on a conversational level.
yeah, and even
Even
if we like,
when we're in conversation, that's like 10 times better. Even if we don't like each other in conversation, I'm much happier with that than not liking each other in the physical world. And
right, and I think in a lot of ways it's like if you can keep that conversation going long enough where there's actual exchange, then you start to become like friends, or at least like fellow human beings or something, right? Like there's some
on both
yeah,
sides humanized.
bonds start to go and understanding starts to go. And then really, if your goal is to like survive and not have your people get killed, the more mutual understanding is like the more people are trying to navigate that, and the more they're like, no, they're not going to do that because they're biased towards staying alive. And I think there are people that are biased towards, so like people that are biased towards staying alive, like over time you're gonna, like you need to keep the conversation long enough, and like the bad things from happening, keep that long enough down the line, that over time things will get better. But when you have people that are biased towards death, which there definitely are, and anyone who doesn't think this is true is naive. Like that becomes a problem. Like that becomes a huge problem, because there's like, they kind of have your vulnerability in a way, and you have no vulnerability. Like you have nothing on them and they have everything on you. And I don't think, yeah, so I think like in general, like Hamas has this bias towards death, and I presume that the general civilian population from the Palestinians don't. I know definitely there are some people there that have bias towards life, but I don't know. Like I wouldn't be able to talk percentages or anything like that.
I want to raise an interesting detail that I think is at least partially responsible for the complexity and the events that we're seeing, which is the advent of technology. Like there's just a couple of videos that were drones, and drones tend to be smaller these days. They tend to be lighter weight. They started making them out of cardboard so that they can't be picked up on a metal detector.
On radar, yeah, plastic, and
the damage that a drone carrying a grenade can do is incredible.
Yeah,
and that was seems like there was being blindsided by technology. But this is war in the new era, is that there is technology.
yeah. The blindsiding is incredible. Like I don't think, I think like Israel's aware of drones and stuff, so I'm not like, I wouldn't go that far. But
like knowing perfectly how to counterbalance.
Right. I don't think there currently is a hard counter to drones that make them ineffective, as far as I know. I'm pretty sure that's not true. Yeah.
Especially if drones are cheap, like you can buy them for a couple $100.
Yeah, I got a friend that has a drone. He doesn't use it for violence, but it is very cool.
Right. But that's like, in terms of a war zone where a large bomb could be thousands of dollars, a couple $100 in a drone can do a lot of damage.
Yeah. Generally the weapons on the Palestinian side are much cheaper. Like the rockets they use are very indiscriminate versus like the rockets or the missiles, I guess, that
counterattack.
The Israelis are very precise. So like Israel has to use very precise munitions because they don't want to do collateral damage. Palestinians just kind of want to get in the general direction of people. Yeah, it's a very, people don't realize, I think, the extent of the asymmetry of the war. Um, like the, like, like Israel needs to like, they're always like the way Israel fights is insane. It's like they get rockets fired at them all the time, like into civilian populations, and so they build like this anti-rocket system, right? Like no other country in the world does this. Like like this is crazy. Like no one would do this.
Mm.
Um, right? Like normally, if someone's like shooting at you, you go and make them stop. You don't just say, okay, like I guess this is just how we're living our lives. Um, and then the what they do is because the terrorists, they use civilian areas for to stage their attacks. So they'll use hospitals or journal offices, apartment buildings, like they churches, mosques, whatever. Like they don't care. They just use whatever it is. And so when Israel counterattacks, they text the people in the building to leave before they strike that, before they fire the missile back. Um, and then and then they use that Israel destroyed this hospital, Israel destroyed this apartment building, and they use that as like fodder, like look how terrible Israel is. When it's when it's obviously like this is like this is the base of operations for terrorism. Which again is like something like weird. Like I don't think they should be doing this. I don't like. I think it's like Geneva Convention has like pretty explicit rules. Like if you're using civilian areas are off limits for military targets unless they're used as military bases.
I think
so if you're
one thing
trying
that may
to
happen after this conflict is that there will be a strong show of force in response. Like Israel is not going to take this passively. It's going to be a very active response.
Yeah. I don't know what they're gonna do, but it's at least in this point in time, it's they're being very explicit that they're going to hit Gaza very hard. They've already cut off electricity and water.
Yep.
Which they've been the ones supplying them with that. They're doing a blockade, which I didn't realize, but Gaza has a border on Egypt as well. And so like Egypt and Israel are enforcing that, have been and are enforcing that border. Yeah, Egypt enforces the border as well because apparently they've done terrorism there as well. So yeah, I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, they're still clearing up like the last remnants of the terrorists that are there. Because the terrorists they're going from like, so there's like this like iconic imagery of like the electrolyzed glider that went in. And so like essentially what they were doing is they went in and they went from like house to house executing families, taking prisoners, raping.
I heard some of them. So the building codes in Israel are such that every house is built with a bomb shelter, including chemical warfare filters prepared for the worst. And the story is that the terrorist people walked through and knocked on the bomb shelter doors and said, "We're here to move you out of this area because it's not safe. We're Israeli soldiers." And then when the doors opened, they shot everyone. That's the story, which is pretty brutal.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Normal, like a normal military don't do that, right? Like if they're taking over an area for strategic reasons, they don't like work very hard at finding civilians to murder them. And hostages as well. I saw like the horrible things I saw. There's a lot of horrible things, like one of the things that really made me like angry was they had like they took these hostages. So they took a grandmother and toddlers into, like, they took them into
Gaza, I believe.
Gaza, and then they posted, oh, this is how we treat, like, we're going to take care of these people, like, because we're Muslim, and like this is how we treat people, like we don't hurt grandmothers and children. And I'm like, and like literally as they're holding them hostage, and as they've probably killed, like there's videos like where they've killed children,
Mm.
mutilated the bodies, a lot of body mutilation. Yeah, I don't know why, like it's not even like the worst thing they do, but it's just, it, like, the way it translates to like our culture, it's like they're trying to show like how good of people they are, and it's like this like appeal to like humanity, like we're good people, we take care of some of the children and old ladies that we kidnap for some amount of time, and then like using them because they know that Israel has yeah, Israel's, because Israel cares very much about like their people not dying, which is like, this is the values. And also I wonder if sometimes it gets in the way, but that's a political discussion I don't want to go into. No, well, I mean, no, maybe we should go into it, but it's like it's a hard balance, right? Like I think this is one of the things that are going on is like they're kind of like, even within like Israeli or Jewish culture, like there are like two sides to this of like, should we be like enforcing the violence, or should we be like giving up everything for to save a person? And it's tough, right?
Mm.
Because you want to, like, you want to protect the people. Like if you're going to let terrorists roam free, then more people are going to die. It's a tough question, and I don't want to like say that there is an answer, but it's a dilemma, they call it,
Mm.
because there's no good answer.
Yeah, I think that's probably a sentiment I share. There's no good answer.
Yeah,
That's kind of part of what I'm sitting. Like if I like being the backseat driver, and I'm like, why doesn't this guy just like do that? We can all do that with global politics, but like in this one, there's just everything's not pretty. There's no good answers.
yeah.
Mm. Feels like a part of me is bracing for a fight.
Yeah. That's another thing that's going on. It's like the backlash. So like Israel's got like their backlash that they're dealing, like I mean, they have the incident, and then they're dealing with the thing, and then there's going to be backlash there, but there's also going to be backlash for us here, and it's unclear what that is.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should like move into this, but already like I've been spending a bunch of time on Twitter and trying to like gauge responses. So first off, Twitter is amazing. It's got
fascinating discussion ground.
It's like got all the stuff just straight up, right? Like there's no, like, this is where journalists go to get their information, right? And then it's like as long as I'm following a couple journalists, and so it winds up being like they're just tweeting all the time, like, oh, this is what's going on, here's the thing, here's the thing, here's the thing, here's the thing. Like it's not like the Twitter, the platform, or X, I guess they call it now. But I'm old school. I don't update that quickly. They yeah, they've got a lot of the raw stuff, which like we've never really had before. And like we didn't have before Elon Musk took over. Like this would never have been like that with Elon Musk. They would have been like hardcore media suppression, putting out the narratives that they want. But it's so interesting because you can see the culture war actually happen.
The war on both sides. You can just see posts.
So that's the thing. It's not both sides anymore. Like, and I'm moving mindsets from Israel versus Palestine into like Western culture war, where you have like, let's say right versus left, right? Which is sort of one of the things like, but you can see everything's shifting now because one of the big things that I think that's going on, it hasn't really exploded yet, but I think it's going to be a big deal, is the decolonization. So what does decolonization mean? And so like that's a question that like people debate and discuss all the time. But they don't, because it's left stuff, but they argue. they use their social power around a lot all the time. The decolonization now, it's like the big question is Hamas's terrorist attack decolonization? And
because there's a side of politics in general that likes to take the side of decolonization.
So
if it is which one we should support, because decolonization is good.
Right. So there's two things: is decolonization good or bad? But that's very secondary, I think, to this situation right now. Right? Is what Hamas doing decolonization? Right? Because if it is, then essentially decolonization is and always has been a dog whistle for like ethnic cleansing. And then if it isn't, then it's saying like, or let's say it is somewhat decolonization, but it's like the wrong way to do it, and violence is never the answer, and like this is wrong what you're doing. Then it's like, okay, like now we're back at the table, like we can have a discussion whether or not it's good. But there's been like many like professors and like advocates and like people that talk on side of decolonization. I have a Twitter thread where I've gone through and trying to find this stuff, including Black Lives Matter. I just put up the professors and like Black Lives Matter stuff. I didn't put it in like all the random accounts I found, because I think there's radicals everywhere. But it does seem to very heavily favor that this is decolonization, and this is what they mean when they say decolonization. And there's been multiple BLM groups that have sided with Hamas and being like, yeah, this is the right thing and we support you. And that's very culture war interesting, because it very clearly paints certain people as the bad guys. There has been like some glee, I think, but I try not to do glee yet, because it's like that's not the time for it. It's like still let things shake out a little bit more. Maybe people don't really know.
That was something interesting that happened just in the first 2-3 days. I have a particularly skeptical perspective on the news. In every day of the week, I have a skeptical perspective on the news, but particularly the like early reports, especially early unconfirmed reports. It's like, oh, I can't really believe anything. I have to both believe everything and not believe anything. In the like, something has happened, reports of a number of people have died, or reports of an attack here. Like, we're still so early in the events. It's not clear what happened and what didn't happen. there was a music festival that was attacked. I'm pretty sure that happened. There's hundreds of people from that have died, but it's not clear how many. Yeah, it's pretty shocking.
Yeah, so like when I first heard about it, I heard like terrorist attack, and I was like, oh, like another one. But this is like completely out of, like, it's completely different than everything that's happened before. The other one is the other thing is, like, what we haven't mentioned is like the first people targeted were at a music festival for peace. So it was essentially like, I guess, like colloquially, like the hippies that think about love. I think everything can be solved through love. Were the first ones to be killed. Which is like it's very interesting, because and I've heard on the like Hamas side, it's like, well, they're like, what do you expect if you're having fun near a prison? And it's like, well, and like from the Westerns, even not even the Israeli side, just like the Western side, it's like, these are obviously like these people, like, you can be annoyed with them, but like to kill these people is to demonstrate a lack of like everything. It's like, you're not, like, whatever you say next, you are the bad guys. Like, just straight up, like there's no, like, you don't understand. You have no values. Yeah. This is something like I remember arguing with, like, it's like something like argue with like when we would debate with people of like this situation, they're like, there's two sides to every story, and it's like, yeah, this is like, you can see Hamas's side, like you can see this is what Israel's dealing with, like this is the side, and then the other side, like these are the two sides, and starting to do like a moral equivalence between the two. This is what Shapiro keeps talking about, moral equivalence, where he's saying like, well, there's two sides and they're both right, and it's like, this is not, like, you're not in reality if you're seeing these as the same. And that's not to dehumanize people, but it's like, I don't know, like, you got to do the psychotechnology that you got to do to prevent this, and to like acknowledge that it's wrong. I think that's a thing. A lot of just like a lot of the discussions, it really, like, I really feel like it's like the Israel side is like, look, we want two things acknowledged. Number one, these people are terror. There is terrorism where they target and kill and rape and kidnap civilians, and we don't like that, and we have the right to defend ourselves. And like that's the underlying, like that's the Israeli side's starting point. Like that's the thing that they just want. They want everyone to acknowledge, and like the rest of the stuff is kind of debatable.
What? I have this question for you, because I'm sure it's sort of about how do you choose to interact with the media? Like, knowing that there's a rabbit hole of like gruesome stuff, possibly people pro, people anti, people this, people that. Do you spend an hour a day, or do you like try and avoid it?
I'm spending a lot of hours on it.
Yeah, I'm finding also like, I mean, we had a conversation yesterday, and you started telling me about something, and I just like drifted off topic and went like directly down the Israel rabbit hole of like what's going on and checking the news, because I mean, it's happening. Like, it is happening. It's happening in real time. I just find myself staring at the news.
Yeah. Like how should people
Like,
engage with
enough
social
for
media?
today. Go ahead.
If you're gonna watch or listen to one thing, it would be the Ben Shapiro video on it. Like whatever you say, like he is a bit he is aggressive. I think he's feeling a lot of anger and grief. But like it's like very dense. Like the video is very dense. Like it's very, this is what happened. Like here's the facts. Here's what's going on. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Like here's more things. Like here are arguments people are making. Here are video evidence. Why that's not the case.
Do you know which video? Do you know what it was called? And I'll link it.
I don't know. It's probably pretty obvious. Oh, we should probably link it for future people.
Yeah. Yeah, let me share it. If you can recognize it. Is it one of these?
I saw it on Twitter. Yeah, I'm looking for it here. I saw it on Twitter.
Or is it going to be live? No, probably not. The shorts.
It's his podcast.
All right. If you find it, happy to link it.
I don't know why it's not. Maybe it's May God Avenge Their Blood.
How long was it? Was it there? That's an hour long.
Yeah.
Okay. I will link that one.
I think it's that one.
Okay. I'll link it. That way people can see it. I mean, he's a biased source.
No, the face of absolute evil.
Okay.
That's the one I would watch.
Okay.
So that's he does not only he does a good job like expressing what's going on, like how what's happening, like from
like a news standpoint.
Yeah, and he does I think he's gotten, he hasn't gotten all the videos obviously, but he's gotten a lot of, like it's got a good selection of videos with like good context sharing. But the thing he does is he does this like on a system level pretty well. He has a take where he's saying like he's been part of culture war for like at least years, right? Minimum years. And there's stuff like during like culture war when you're trying to explain, and people are just like not getting it, or like misunderstanding, or deliberately misunderstanding, or obfuscating. And so he does like the psychological aspect really well, where he's saying like, look at this, right? Like you need to look at this, you need to see what's going on. And you need to see that because later, like this is going to be important later, because people are going to say things. And I think he's right in a lot of stuff, probably not about everything, but like I think he's generally right, where like I guess like I'm old now. I think I'm about his age, a little bit younger than him, but it's like been around like long enough, and like you see the cycles happen over and over again. And like in order to break this, like part of breaking the cycles is to like when the thing happens, to see what's happening, to document it clearly, to show what's going on, and to like have that as common knowledge, because otherwise you just sound like a crazy person, like, oh, this thing happened. But when it enters the public consciousness, then it becomes like you're able to actually like relate, and to see reality, and to like make choices about reality, or have opinions or awareness.
It's just like I have Twitter open and I just can't look away. Like there's another video and another video and another video.
Yeah, there's so much.
So like making sense of what's happened. Like I even saw there was one video that had a comment underneath it, like, this video is 3 years old from a different part of the world. Like, what? Like, things are mixed together.
Right. So that's something that like Twitter is doing amazingly well. The community notes are really good. This is weird because it's very Twitter's got like a very bubblegum and string feel to it. Like it doesn't feel polished, right? But it's doing like it's got like all the things are going on all at once. And then when like the pieces of information show up, there's like community notes under it, like giving context.
Right.
And there's the other thing is like organizers, like back in my day, we used, like people would say like, oh, this guy said this and this guy said that. And it's like kind of like rumors. You don't know if it's true, but like, because everyone can just, like you can say these people are saying this thing, like I'm going to quote tweet them. So you can like read the quote, you can read the tweet yourself. And like, you can see like, is this part of a thread? And you can see what are the other tweets the guy was saying.
I mean, there's
like
the story here. Have you heard the beheaded babies?
Yeah,
There's an accusation of beheaded.
A lot of these videos are hard to watch.
But it's like, but I'm reading now, like it's the information is not confirmed. Like that's someone made up that story. Apparently,
so there have been beheadings,
right?
And there have been babies killed.
But the specific story,
there have been baby beheadings.
Was there 40 babies beheaded in this particular incident? And it seems like unconfirmed, or it didn't happen. But that story was still spread.
Right.
But also, like,
and that's good. That's good, right?
Confirmed. Like, I don't know. Like, we don't know.
Right. I saw another one where they're saying there's no evidence of rape, and then like right underneath it, community notes, here are multiple sources of evidence.
Yeah.
And then I saw the Black Lives Matter stuff is like Black Lives Matter seems like squarely on the side of Hamas. And one of the Black Lives, I think it was Chicago, they did they have like this poster saying we stand with Hamas, and they got the electrolyzed glider and like that, and then the community notes under that are saying this guy went door to door killing people. Like that's who you stand with. And so I think there's like a big, it does feel to me like that shifted, like the culture has shifted now to the point where like these organizations, like these groups, like the decolonization stuff is, there's no like, they're not like it's okay to be against them now because they've aligned themselves with terrorists, and like not like abstract terrorists, you know, because like this is another thing that happens a lot like with politics, is that you get like Nelson Mandela was arrested, and Martin Luther King was arrested, and so like those guys are criminals, and it's like those guys are political criminals because they're standing up to like regimes, right? Like you know, so like the language gets a bit screwy. This is like, this isn't like even if you want to like get rid of the terror, like if you get rid of the label terrorists and you say these are the people that kill women and kill and rape women and children, hold hostages and then murder them, like that label is worse than terrorist. And so like you kind of, it's like kind of pinned in place, and you said like the BLM organizations are on these people's sides. This is what they want to do. This is what they think is good. These are their values. And so you can easily, like, it's much easier to distinguish like who's good faith here, like who do we want to build society with and who do we want outside society. This is the way I'm thinking about it, because it can't really dehumanize, like you can't dehumanize these people because they are humans. But it's essentially like people who think this way don't get to be part of building society. Like they're on the outside. Like you don't get invited to the party if you're about murdering women and children. And I don't care what your values, I don't care what justification come up with it. Like we're not throwing a party with these people. Like this is not how we live. At least for me. Like I guess other people can draw their lines, but like this is my line. And I feel like it's weird because I feel like all the time, like with morality, it's like trying to figure out what's moral, what's not, what's contextual morality, what's universal morality, what's the moral. But then there's like this other morality where it's like it's not universal, but it's like universal to humans. And then there's like a pragmatic universality. But like this is very like this is very clean. Like it's a very clean line between good and evil. Between like what a society can build and what we can't. I guess we kind of all crave clean lines. There's also like a double checking because like I said, the second you feel something is clear, you got to like check your work. But I feel very confident about this. Hi, child of mine. Why aren't you sleeping?
I don't know.
Yeah. I guess it's just rough.
I got my wake up time.
No, you didn't go to sleep. You gotta wake up tomorrow in the morning for school. Yeah. I mean, because yeah, like we do like ambiguous stuff all the time where I'm like, he needs to go to sleep. I think he needs to go to sleep. And also I don't know how to do this in like a non-violent, in a healthy way.
I wake up.
But you didn't sleep.
Why?
Why didn't you sleep?
Why? Why didn't I see?
Yeah, why didn't you sleep?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I know.
Why?
I don't know.
He learned he's been doing why and I don't know for a while. It's good. I like the I don't know stuff because it's very like teaching people like that they don't have to make up answers. It's very, I realize this like with the kids stuff, and this is like a tangent, but they're born like very genuine, and then they start to like manipulate, or they'll like cry to get a thing, not because there's natural crying, but like it starts off as communication, and then it transitions into manipulation, and then you gotta cut that off. But with the speaking, it starts off as very just like trying to play, like just like trying to be part of things. So like my littlest one, he's 4.5, like we'll do like when we're all hanging out and doing stuff. So I bring him in because I think it's good for him. And he wants to be part of things. And like he'll just like laugh sometimes, or he'll like participate. Like he doesn't speak, but he'll make noises and be like, ah, or whatever. Cause he's like, this is like, he's like watching the conversations, he's watching the interactions between people, and he doesn't get words or like the content, but he can like sort of figure out context, or at least like kind of join in that. And so with the kids is like when they start talking, they say things, but then when they start getting into conversations, it becomes, they're just kind of like saying things to be part of the conversation. Like it's the stuff they're saying is not necessarily true, well thought out, or reflective of anything inside. And so it's like they kind of start out lying in a way. And it's like your job to get them to still participate, but not lie. Like, so it'll be like pro-social. And so the I don't know response is really.
I know.
Do you know?
Yeah.
All right, tell me.
My water.
Okay. You want some water?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, like he doesn't know what I'm talking about, but he still like wants to be part of it and saying things, he's still conversing. And so the I don't know lets them be part of conversations and participate in ways that are truthful and still be there. And so we don't kind of we don't celebrate necessarily, I don't know, but it's very socially acceptable.
And
I think Is it time to over? Do you need attention from me?
Who haven't
I ate it all because you didn't want it.
I think possibly.
Okay. Do you have any concluding remarks? Anything you want to say that has been said?
I hope that the war doesn't go on for too long.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I also hope that it doesn't have a rapid and awful conclusion.
Daddy?
I mean, it's already an awful conclusion.
Right.
We're past that. Can you give me 1 minute and then I'll come join you? I wanted to say one more thing. So, like, one of the lines that is used a lot is Yisroel Chai. So, like, this is like a big one where, like, you have them on the concentration camps. So it's Yisroel Chai, is the nation of Israel lives. So, like, throughout history, there have been many people that have been trying to wipe us out.
Mm.
And so, like, they did this. They have these in the concentration camps, and they have these. There's that gate in Italy. I forgot what it's called, but it celebrates the Romans' victory over Judea.
The triumph.
Yeah, and tonight or last night, there's pictures on Twitter where they have the Israeli flag projected on top of it,
Mm.
and they have. I think I don't know if they have them, but if they don't, it's like I think someone graffitied it on it. Yisroel Chai, the nation of Israel lives, and so it's been pretty intense talking about this stuff, like all the death and destruction, and having my child, my 2-year-old, around, being part of it, and in the way that he is.
Mm.
So this is I guess the psychotechnology that I'd want to leave people with.
What's the psychological experience of today?
Yeah,
It's like
and that transition, it's like the grief and the anger and stuff, but like the thing that's always like at the end of it is Yisroel Chai.
Mm.
We're still alive and we're still going.